I need to restore my honor, and only capturing your money with patreon.com/recesscastproductions can do that. I'll get honor, you get bonus episodes and early access. It's a win-win. Again, set course for patreon.com/recesscastproductions. Enjoy the show, and give me honor. Can your science explain why kids love Cinnamon Toast Crunch? No? I didn't think so either. Welcome to the After Credits Cast, the only film podcast to prove science doesn't really know everything. I'm your host, AJ Waseska, along with my co-host, Ryan Metters.
I think the reason is because it's loaded with sugar.
No, Ryan, there's no science behind that.
Science.
Shush, there's no science. And we're joined, of course, by Bill Ketchum.
The jury's still out on science, guys. I don't know if it's true yet.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you.
Don't tell me I have to defend science even on the podcast. God damn it.
If you wish to... Sorry. If you wish to...
Whoa, that cough goes so in line with this episode.
Little bit. If you want to defend science, you can follow us on different platforms of choice, including Twitter, Tumblr, and Facebook. And Ryan, if they want to tell us that science is whack, where could they email us at?
You can email us at getthatshitoutofmyface and wear your goddamn mask at you. Excuse me. No. That's actually at masks are a great thing. Look at the blue spirit at G. Sorry. Damn it. Sorry.
Wait, hold on. How do you spell that? I'm trying to send an email to that address.
I want to order more blue masks.
No, it was just a cough. Of course, I didn't say that for real. Anyway, it's evacstation at gmail.com.
Careful, Ryan. Those coughs can turn into COVID real quick. I would know. I've been there.
I'm fine. I got my mask on.
No, that's good. I had my mask on too, so I don't know what the hell happened.
Oh God.
Anyway, let's start with today's episode. First episode, I should say. Today we'll be covering Inside A, The Blue Spirit. Yes, this will be a meaty one. Originally airing in June 17th of 2005, directed by Dave Filoni, and written by Michael Dante DiMartino and Brian Konietzko. I can never pronounce his name. It's that little middle bit. And animated by DR Movie. The cast includes a couple new names, including Jodie Carlisle as the herbalist and Nick Jameson as Colonel Shinu.
Shinu.
Oh, is it Shinu? God, it's so long since I've seen the episode, I forgot how they pronounced it. Ryan, I think it's some fun facts summary, and some really good ones, in fact.
All right, well, I got you. First and foremost, the Tsungi horn is played whenever Prince Zuko switches to the Blue Spirit alter ego. The instrument used for the sound effect is the duduk, which the Tsungi horn is based on. I didn't actually catch that when I heard it, so that's really, really cool.
Yep, and I did leave a link in there for you boys if you want to see what that instrument looks like. It's pretty interesting. It's like a little flute.
Ooh, fantastic. I'll check that out.
Curious.
Next up, it was revealed in The Search, Part 1, that Ursa, Zuko's mom, kept a collection of theater masks hidden behind a painting, one of the masks being the identical mask to the Mask of the Blue Spirit. In The Search Library Edition, elaborated on this passing illustration, revealing that the mask in Ursa's room was truly the one that Zuko wore in The Blue Spirit. He found it there when he went looking for clues as to where his mother had gone. I completely missed that, and I love it. I absolutely love that.
Yep. Unless you've read the comics, you won't get those details, but it is a brilliant detail. I'm glad they went back and did it.
Yeah, that's so good. That's so good.
Yeah, I was curious. It seemed very like familiar. We should have known something about that.
Nice. Well, for our final fun fact, as Nickelodeon only ordered 13 episodes of the original series, the creators designed this episode knowing they needed something exciting along the lines of a series finale. As a result, knowing that they had created a rivalry between Zuko and Zhao, they thought, if Zhao had captured Aang, no one would be more motivated to rescue him than Zuko. Flawless. This was originally like designed to almost be a season finale, which is super cool, or a series finale. Sorry.
Yep.
Oh, really? So this, like, essentially, this episode is written for this to be kind of like a cliffhanger of sort of the two, like, hero versus villain. Now the villain saving the hero, and we're gonna leave the series left on that aspect of it.
It also calls to mind.
Yeah, I mean, like if they only you have to end on a really hooking point so that the higher ups can be, oh shit, we have to get more episodes of this shit. So yeah, I think along those lines is great.
Well, and on top of that too, this goes back to what we were saying earlier this season about how many episodes were actually like ordered for that first round. So now we know they only had 13 to start with, and this is one of them. So that's kind of cool.
Cool. Damn. This makes the last episode and this episode that much better.
Don't I know it? I got a brief synopsis for you, gentlemen. Are you guys ready for this?
Yes.
The old synopsis.
Starburns is promoted to Admiral and takes command of some archers to hunt down the Avatar. Aang is trying to get frogs for reasons and is captured. Hearing news of this, Zuko decides to take action. Starburns tells Aang he will remain prisoner so he can't reincarnate. Suddenly, a figure in a blue mask arrives, and it's the Blue Spirit, Scourge of the Fire Nation. It breaks Aang free, and the two do an excellent escape sequence with some top-tier animation. But they are eventually cornered when the Blue Spirit seemingly turns on Aang, blades to his throat. Starburns allows him to escape, and he needs Aang to stay alive. But he orders some snipers to take out the Blue Spirit when they are just far enough away. As the smoke clears, Aang can see who the Blue Spirit is. It was Zuko all along. Just like I thought it was Old Man Jenkins. They escape, and Aang and Zuko have a heart-to-heart moment before parting ways. Kind of. Aang returns to his friends and makes them suck on frogs. You don't need any further context.
And Zuko says, I would have gotten away with it too if it hadn't been for you meddling kids.
No, that synopsis was a classic, like, the reason why we keep our drinks away during the synopsis, because, like, that was awesome, man.
Yep. I forgot about Starburns.
Starburns is so good.
Love it when I can bring a joke like that back and it catches you off guard for just a second.
Oh, that was good, man.
So, quick first question side moment here. Does anyone here really like the B plot with Sokka and Katara and being sick and Momo being the absolute worst help possible?
Yeah, because it's 2020 right now. We in COVID season. It made it so relevant. Like, I didn't know what
frogs, please.
I didn't know what the name of this episode was. So, like, in my note sheet, it says COVID episode.
Oh man, I personally liked it because it wasn't dwelt on for long. It was just enough to get your quick dose of comic relief before we went back to the darker, the more like driven like story plots of it. Because like aside from that, this episode was pretty dark and like not necessarily heavy, but like dangerous. Like it was fraught with peril. So just those quick moments to get away from that and be like, Momo, come on, dog, give me some water, dog, some water. No, not a crown. No, not Aang's staff. Get me some water. Come on, kid.
No, this goes back to like one of my favorite podcasts we did when we were doing movies when they used to come out. Get Out. Like, Get Out was such a great movie, but like you needed those certain moments of like levity. You needed that break. And I thought they just littered that in there. Like, and I've really been evaluating the A story and B stories. Sometimes we don't even have a B story on some of these episodes.
Nope.
And when they do have a B story, they do a really good job of like breaking it up, you know? So like, and as fact as dark, like you were saying before, as this episode gets, like you kind of needed that little sort of like breath of a moment to like gather your thoughts, have a little bit of a laugh, and get back into the grind of the story. Especially like the fact that you brought up that this is like, you know, supposed to be that 13th episode, sort of like last, you know, series finale. Like you would almost need that, and sort of that build up of like the act 1, the act 2, act 3 breakup in the build up of storyline.
Now, considering Zhao's now more prominent role in this episode going forward, does he seem like a more credible threat here, or why not?
No, I feel like that aspect kind of laid off to the side. I didn't think it wasn't really. I guess because I've seen this before, so it kind of changes my perspective. But because knowing I knew who the Blue Spirit was, like watching this kind of like camaraderie. You're seeing that like from the episode before to this one. No, now you're seeing them work together, defend each other, take care of each other. I was more kind of enthralled with that aspect this time watching it than I noticed before, just because like here's your most sworn enemy, and at one point in time his blades are against your neck, and another time you're using your airbending abilities to save them and throw them on a wall. And so I was really kind of just hung up on that aspect, so I kind of missed that point.
What do you think, Ryan?
I think like I agree largely with Bo in the fact that the primary focus of the episode isn't Zhao, but rather Zuko, and it definitely like going back to when you first see it, you're like, oh my god, who is this person? Who is the Blue Spirit? And woo 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 woo. And the twist at the end that it's actually Zuko definitely lands and hits home, but getting all of this in hindsight, and now like with knowledge of who the Blue Spirit is, you can definitely take a look deeper into the episode. So while it raises the importance of Zhao, because you see him promoted to an admiral, you see him get command of like these really skilled and effective sniper teams, you see him commanding like a full battalion of Fire Nation soldiers that are very effective, even though they're up against two kids that will be masters in their own right one day. So like it raises the stakes in terms of like the threat that they're facing, but the emphasis and the real development lies on Zuko and Aang.
Speaking of the snipers, why are they never brought up again after this episode? They seem like they'd be very useful in any military branch.
Oh man, yeah. So I put that in my notes. Like, I didn't realize how much I love aerial sequences, like, and especially how effective they were in subduing Aang's powers. Like, this is like the most effective I think we ever see of him being kind of defeated and not being able to like fight back, so to speak. And I really enjoyed, this is like all the action in the show, like as I remember watching it, I've always enjoyed, but like this particular episode of this season, I think they really get good at creating this action-packed episode. Like,
the animation's
so
top notch.
Yeah, in my notes I put it's very tropish. It's very sort of like, you know, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. It's very like Three Musketeers, sort of like, you know, just avoiding Assassin's Creed sort of action of barely missing, you know, the guardsmen, you know, looking underneath the carriage. And so like this is where I feel like the animation action like really takes off, and like it gave me this sort of like relatable feeling of like, you know, old movies that I used to watch. So it had a really cool feel to that.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I think it's really cool that again, like in episode 10, Jet we really get to showcase just how effective non-benders can be. Like, we've got a team of just normal human beings that have had their skills honed to like a razor's edge, and they're able to keep up with the Avatar. Now, granted, I do think a lot like a big issue that, or like the biggest thing that was hampering Aang was the fact that he was by himself, and so his friends couldn't help him out with that. But still, like, it's not any team of archers that can keep up and actually capture the Avatar. So I would have loved to have seen more of those guys, but at the same time, thinking about the rest of the series, they definitely they up their game in terms of who they end up fighting later on. So I don't think they missed anything by not having the archers, even though it would have been a really cool callback to see them again.
Maybe.
Like, compare the archers to Combustion Man or the Rough Rhinos or some shit, you know?
Maybe, but at the same time, I'm trying to imagine Katara and Sokka being there. Sokka's not a bender. I don't think he had the combat skills to deal with these dudes. They might have actually just fucking killed him. Katara, This is still before she gets full-on waterbending, like, mastery. So I don't know how helpful she would have been in this particular fight. Not useless, but I don't think she would have been, like, up to Aang's level by any means.
Technically, she doesn't have any water because she sends Momo to go get water. So she
Fair.
wouldn't even be able to, like, she wouldn't even be able to battle. Which I thought that was so fucking... The little, like, POV of Momo, like, listening to her talk. He's like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's like Charlie Brown.
Yeah.
Like,
He's like, yeah, sweet. I'm just going to find some dope-ass shit and bring it back to you. And I think that, like, it just added to, like, how cool this show was. Like, he brings her a crown. Like, super valuable, obviously of, like, stature. You know what I mean? Even, and Suko, God, I'm going to get this right with it. Sokka's, like, delusional state of sickness. He's like, yes, your highness. I think just added, like, that great little comic break that, and not only was it like a cheap comic break, but it was actually funny.
It was pretty funny, yeah.
And I want to take time actually and like to pause on the scene where you notice how it's just littered with treasures. And I'm wondering if, you know, how this show works. I wonder if there's other little Easter eggs in those treasures that he brings back, you know.
Yeah, we have to go back and pause. I actually have no idea.
Yeah, it's a good scene. The animation didn't look too sharp, so I don't think they put a lot of effort into that one. So maybe I'm reading too much into it, but of course I'm gonna rewatch this soon, I'm sure. And so when I come across that scene, I'm probably definitely gonna pause on it and see if I can't pick up something.
Gotcha. Well, let's talk about the Blue Spirit real quick. So, when you were first watching this, way back whenever that was, were you expecting it to be Zuko at all?
No, it completely surprised me.
Yes and no. That's hard to say. I was surprised by it, but not surprised by it. A lot of these episodes, especially this one, the next episode, it's kind of tropish with like some of its storyline. So I was somewhat surprised that it was him, but not altogether surprised, just because that would make sense why they would do such a build-up of like character building.
I'm trying to think back to this episode
because they really forced like a relationship.
Yeah. I'm trying to think.
I also didn't expect Zuko to have such a prominent episode back to back, because the episode before this was the fucking storm.
Right.
I didn't think they were gonna hit like Zuko back to back with the story hammer like that. So that was really cool.
Yeah. Right.
Well, and like I was about to say too, I don't remember the first time I saw this one because this was back when I was 15, and I'm trying to think back to when this would have been. And I honestly can't put my finger on exactly when I saw this first time, but like what happened. But I feel like maybe this might have been an episode I missed its first viewing, and the first time I saw the Blue Spirit might have been in, was it season 2 when they bring it back?
Oh, wow.
So I might have
right.
missed this one completely, the first airing, and then when it came back to it, I'm like, oh, that's Zuko, right? But it's been a while. I couldn't remember for sure. But I will say, they do a good job, because prior to this episode, I don't think we've really seen Zuko use swords. We don't really see him demonstrate this level of proficiency with espionage and fighting.
Right.
Usually he gets his ass kicked, except against Zhao. So seeing him be this competent against a military is pretty damn impressive. And when you find out time, it's like, oh, so he is actually good at what he does. So they do a good job building up.
Yeah, this is a big episode for them.
Yep, they do a good job building up to the reveal by not building up to the reveal. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, they play their cards close to the vest in that regard, and they just hold it so that you're not really expecting it when it actually comes up. I mean, all you see Zuko doing is working on his bending with Iroh and constantly trying to capture the Avatar. And it's most of the times when he fails at capturing the Avatar, it's because like hijinks are happening, or just like
It's basically Team
like
Rocket.
everything's so hectic, or right, basically Team Rocket. But when you remove all that other stuff and you just give Zuko a chance to shine, then they're like, okay, this guy, forget that he's Zuko. This dude is just swole. He's just
Right.
awesome. And then they're like, it was him all along. This is really somebody you need to watch, especially coming right off the storm. It's like Zuko has a lot of depth to him. Zuko's also really fucking competent at what he does. He's just dealing with a lot of shit.
Yeah, he's
So,
also
it's
15 years old.
Yeah, he's also fucking 16.
It's 16, right?
Who had any idea of what the fuck they were doing when they were 16? It surely wasn't me.
Yeah, not me either. I don't remember this
So-
episode. I was 15 at the time.
Well, yeah. Look what you're watching this episode. Meanwhile, they're like fighting and firebending and shit. Like, what were you doing with your life, Aaron?
I was trying to study some swordplay, but I was studying from Star Wars movies, so I don't think it really like worked out.
I think it's only going to carry us so far.
Swordplay is swordplay.
Next question. That's what I got here.
Well, I was gonna say is like we get into this next episode, they actually start playing off like pubescent sort of like hormonal sort of reactions to the emotional side of some of these characters, which I think just another awesome layer to like how in depth this show was. Like, you know, we're talking about espionage. Like, keep in mind, you watch the show when you're 15. Like, you know, like it's a kid show, and once again, they're parlaying into such like hardcore themes as far as like adulthood and messages, and not only that, like now they're starting to deal with like crushes and just ultimate teenage angst.
Indeed. Final question for this episode, unless there's anything else you guys want to add. Do you think Aang's conversation with Zuko at the end foreshadows events to come? And does Aang seem to trust Zuko a little too quick to you?
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I think there's a certain level of foreshadow that you foresee, but like I think for me, like I correlate this episode to the first episode, and so I think it really sums up like what we've learned about them as characters from the first episode, and this kind of like, you know, sums it up in the sense of like giving them a certain level of understanding of like, I know where you're coming from. I also understand that like I'm gonna have to fight you one day, and so I think it makes like kind of this nice transition of like the past of what was and what the future is about to become.
Ryan, where do you fall on that one?
I don't think he trusted him too quickly, because it was pretty, like, for all intents and purposes, life or death. And Aang was not only captured by the Fire Nation, but he was trying to get back because his friends were ill and, like, he needed to help them. So he was in a real bad situation, surrounded by enemies, and this one dude showed up and was like, "I'm freeing you." So I think that earns you some trust real fast. And they actually managed to work really, really well together. But I think the bigger thing behind this, and like really what drives the point home at the end of the episode, is that when the Blue Spirit was unknown, it was just two people working together to stay alive, and they actually worked together really well. So Aang is sitting there, and Zuko's mask is off, and he's saying, I had a really, really good friend when I was younger, and he was from the Fire Nation. Like, because all that other shit fell away. It was just me and him, and we were really good friends. So if there wasn't all of this shit between us, Zuko, do you think that we could have been friends? Because they just essentially proved that they can coexist without if all of the weight of the world was removed from both of their shoulders, they could peacefully coexist. And I think that's definitely foreshadowing, like, the larger questions, or one of the larger questions that they deal with in terms of the nationalism and the weight of the past affecting who they are in the future and in the present.
Oh, toxic nationalism, I see. Yep, I totally agree. I think you guys hit the nail on the head there pretty good. I'm out of questions for this particular episode. You guys want to switch over to side B, or is there anything else you guys wanted to hit up?
This is such a good episode. That's all. It's just a really good episode.
It's really solid. It's really good.
Yeah, it's not one of those filler episodes. It's it just goes to show, like, why this cartoon goes down as like one of the greatest television shows above anime or above a cartoon. It's great.
Well, hey, speaking of filler episodes, The Fortune Teller, originally airing September 23rd, 2005, written by John O'Brien and Aaron Eaz, and directed by Dave Filoni, and animated by JM Animation. The cast includes, I'm going to mispronounce this first one, Sai Chin as Aunt Wu, Jesse Flower as Men, Clyde Kusatsu as the Calm Man, and Cameron Monaghan as the twins.
Oh, God.
And there's a fun fact about one of these voice actors, but I'll leave that to Ryan here.
All right. Well, we got 4 of them real fast. The first one is that the volcano is called Mount Mapaku, meaning bulging eye in Hawaiian. Mapaku is a name given to the extreme eastern end of the island Oahu, in the Hawaiian Islands. I see you're making me flex my pronunciation here. It's all right. I got it. As long as Nicole isn't here to fluster me, I got the shit.
Hey, I need to get her on speed dial. Where's she at?
No! Next up, in ancient China, osteomancy, a type of pyromancy, was practiced in the Neolithic period, and the Shang and Zhao dynasties, in the form of burning or heating oracle bones, usually the scapular shoulder blades of oxen or turtle shells, to produce cracks which were read as portents. So another nod to real-life Eastern practices there. Now, next up, when Sokka kicks a pebble and bounces it off a nearby sign, hitting him in the head, the China... Wow, did you...
I just looked it up to get the pronunciation for you. It's Fu.
Okay, thank you. I thought you changed it to the actual. I thought you changed it from something that I could read to a Chinese character. Like, oh, he thinks he's good at pronunciation. I'm gonna get his ass. Sorry, let me start that from the top. Ugh. When Sokka kicks a pebble and it bounces off a nearby sign, hitting him in the head, I can't see over your name. The Chinese character on the sign ironically reads Fu, which roughly means a good blessing. Goodness, that took too long to read.
Sorry.
It's okay. Last but not least, ooh, and this is something I'm learning just now, but Jessie Flower, the voice of Mang, would later join the main cast as the greatest character in the... I'm sorry, the greatest earthbender in the world, Toph Beifong.
I knew it.
That's so good. I thought her voice sounded familiar. It just didn't have that "I'll break every bone in your body" gruffness to it.
It didn't have the sarcasm to her.
Yeah,
to her
it
voice.
didn't have.
It didn't sound tough.
It didn't have that "I will bend metal to my will" like behind it.
My name's Toph because it sounds like tough.
Yes.
God, I cannot wait for that one too. It's gonna be great. So many good times.
I see by releasing a sonic scream that will show me your face.
I got a good look at you there.
Perfect.
All right, I got a synopsis. Enough of this silly shit. We got a synopsis to do. Business, real business. The gang comes across a town of flat earthers who live their lives by the way of a fortune teller. Katara, being a teenage girl, is interested in knowing all about love, her love life, and demands they go. Aang, being a horny young boy with a crush, also wants to go. Sokka thinks it's all shit and is more or less proven right by the end. On a quest for romance, Aang goes to fetch a flower for Katara, but he and Sokka discover the village is actually in grave danger. No one listens to the threat of climate change because of their religious leader, because she doesn't mention it. So the gang reshapes the clouds, so Aunt Wu must retell the fortune to get everyone to take action. The village is spared, but no one seems to have learned a lesson except for maybe Aang.
Well, to be fair, her portent did actually come true.
Don't you even say it.
Hey! She didn't like her prediction wasn't the volcano will not erupt this year. It was the town will not be destroyed by the volcano this year, which in turn came to pass.
No, this was. I was hoping we were gonna jump off on that too soon.
I can hear Aaron having a brain aneurysm.
No.
I am full Sokka
so
supporter right
it was,
now.
It was so clever, and the funny part is like how many like young kids did not even pick up on that. But like the continuity of the writing of this, that was spot on. Like it was pretty clever how they came back to that original point.
Yeah, like I caught it as soon as she said that. Like the village will not be destroyed this year. I was just like, "Fuck, that's actually right." She actually got it right, guys.
Yeah.
But imagine if imagine if Sokka hadn't bothered with that fucking cloud nonsense. He's like, you know what? Fuck this village. I'm out of here. They'd all been fucked.
Well, I mean, like, they would have all been fucked. But how do you know that what she saw in the portents didn't also account for the fact that the Avatar and his group would not allow an entire town to be destroyed if they had the power to stop it?
Good.
Mm-hmm.
So on my notes, I put at the on top I put the name of the episode. So I got Fortune Teller / Matrix episode. I feel like this is like the Oracle, you know. Like as he bumps into the boss and it breaks, and she's like, "If I didn't tell you that you were gonna do that, would have not it happened?" So
Would you
it's
still
like,
have broken the vase if I hadn't told you about the vase?
if the spoon isn't real, would I be able to bend it? So
Wait,
it's kind of this kind of like double and top. Yeah.
Oh shit!
So it had this,
like Neo is the first metal bender.
oh my god!
fucking
Oh my
mind
God.
blown. Sorry.
We're
I'm sorry.
Fucking
Oh,
mind
continue.
bent is more like it.
Yeah, you got it. You got it.
Ryan's the first mind bender. It's gonna be a spin-off episode.
No, the first mind bender would have been that one magician, the crap. I can't remember. I don't remember the guy's name, but just one of those magicians. It would have been one of them.
Chris Angel.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. I knew you'd get it.
Yep.
I knew you'd get it.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I thought was kind of funny about that is I was kind of laughing to myself that this was very Matrix-like with its fortune telling. It's so like not another teenage movie feel to it. Like it had so much like the last episode we were talking about. Like here's this build up to this like prepubescent like sort of like feeling with everyone, and then we go into this episode with like the chick being super thirsty about Aang, and like it just had a sort of teenage angst to it that like it. I don't know if it distract from it or just like humanized the characters in the sense that you kind of give you this realism to where they still have, even though they're meant to save the world and have all these like powers and all this stuff, that at the end of the day they're 12, 13, 14 years old and they want to bang.
I mean, I don't know if Aang even knows what banging is right now.
Yeah, no. At this point, Aang wants to hold.
That's what I
hands to get
mean.
a
That's
kiss on
what
the cheek.
that's what they're figuring out, and like we even see it from the island of whatever, where like
Kyoshi Island.
yeah. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate you coming through on me on that.
For a minute, I thought he meant
like,
Ember Island for a minute there.
Well, you remember like
Not
when
yet.
you remember he's by the they're painting the scene and all the girls are following him and stuff, and like that was kind of like a precursor to this episode to where you kind of see this development of those now, instead of just being like embarrassed by girls having crushes on him, now he's looking at like Katara like, damn girl, you put a little necklace on you looking good, like you looking like a biscuit I want to soak you up with, you know what I mean? So just by putting that choker, and I'm a 90s baby too, where chokers were big during junior high.
Oh
so
my God, Bo, I haven't heard that line in fucking years. You look so good, I want to sop you up with a biscuit. Oh
Soak
my
you up
God.
with a biscuit,
You
boy.
did it.
What you talking about?
You won. You won the podcast. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Podcast over. Bo's won it.
I retire. I'm out. Peace, bitches.
So I have a question, and it's not one of the ones I've written down. It's following up what Bo was talking about here. So Bo mentions that this reminds him of the Matrix a little bit, and now I'm kind of imagining the Matrix Oracle scene, but instead of how it goes down, we just have Neo constantly asking about girls.
I mean, it almost takes that route because the Oracle is like,
God.
you're cuter than I thought. I can see why she likes you, and he's like, wait, who? And she says, not too bright though, and that's it. So in an alternate universe, he's like, no, wait, seriously, who are you talking about?
Like,
who has a crush on me?
Is Trinity's talking to him in the car, instead of him being like cool and suave, he just like
Got big eyes and getting all red in the face.
Like, has a pimple on the end of his nose, just like totally.
Okay, so
going through
now I'm just thinking of Neo going up to Trinity and saying, "Look what I can do," and holding a bent spoon in between his hands, like.
But she's like not even impressed.
That's
Right.
what you guys tuned in for, right? The Avatar Matrix crossover
Right.
event, because this is big.
As he shows the spoon to her, she's just looking at Neo. She's looking at Lawrence Fishburne's character, Morpheus. She's looking at Morpheus like, damn, and he's just like, oh, what? Like, I wish I was older, more mature, and black. With a huge dog.
I think in this story, Cypher would be Jet.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that.
Oh yeah. That's like, oh, that's a good point. That's the older classman, the bad boy of the group.
Yeah.
God, this got off the rails so quick. My bad, of course. Okay, first question I have that's actually pertaining to this episode. Do you think there's any legitimacy to fortune telling?
You mean IRL or as it pertains to the show?
You know what? You choose what flavor you want to go for.
Oh,
Bo, do you want to take this one or?
I say because the show is so spiritual and very metaphorical, and like, you know, we have a spirit world that you can dive into. I could see fortune telling being something that's real. However, real life, the jury's still out on science on that one.
There's no science. It's not real.
So, the way I look at it, IRL, I think there is far too much about the universe that we don't know, and about spirituality that can't be like empirically proven to dismiss it outright. I personally have felt, I personally try to pay attention to like the turns of my life and like moments that almost act as foreshadowing when I think about them in hindsight. So I feel like everything has a rhyme and a reason, that everything does happen for some purpose. That's just my personal belief. So in terms of whether or not the zodiac that you get in your fucking newspaper is accurate, probably not. But I think that there is some legitimacy to, or at least like a possibility of looking beyond and possibly seeing like what reality or what fate might actually be doing in your life. I don't think there are many people that could do that, but I don't dismiss it like immediately out of hand.
There was a point in time I would argue this, but like Elisa, she just did like a star mapping app thing where she puts in like your birthday and everything, and she like read off the description, and it was like me to a T. Like she read things about myself that I don't think she even knows about me. So I would have like talked so much bullshit if this would have happened 2 weeks ago. But since then, I'm just gonna just hang here silently and not say anything about that. I need to check the science still.
But I think so. But I think like if you look at it through that lens, and then think about what happens in the episode, there are some things that you could absolutely just write off as Madame Wu just telling people what they want to hear. But there are some things that come to pass, maybe not in the most direct route that you'd think it was, but ultimately ends up being dead on. And that's why I love her prediction about the town.
Okay.
Yeah, because like it doesn't say, oh, the volcano is not going to erupt and we're all going to be great. She says, nope, the town will not be destroyed. And the way things happen is that, yes, the volcano erupted, but at this point in time, the Avatar and his friends were there and were able to save the town. Did it happen like everybody thought it was going to happen? No, but it actually did come to pass. So how do you know that Madame Wu actually can't see a bit beyond whatever the veil is, especially considering all the spiritual stuff that happens in this show?
No, I agree with you. I think it gives it this kind of like sort of like wink, sort of tongue-in-cheek sort of like nod to like, hey man, like question everything, but also have an imagination. Like maybe some things that aren't like, they don't seem real can be, you know. So they didn't like force it on you, but like it definitely gave you sort of this interesting sort of like change of perspective of like not everything is what it seems, and maybe just be open to whatever may happen.
I think my take on the legitimacy of fortune telling, at least within the world of Avatar, is you can see spirits, spirit worlds, all that stuff. There's a level of magic. To not believe in it in a fictional world like that is a little silly. In real life, I don't think it's fortune telling so much as recognizing patterns and seeing the eventual outcome. Like, for example, if you look in history and see all the bullshit that happened during the 1918 flu pandemic, you can kind of see we're mirroring a lot of what's going on right back then and there, and can kind of see where things will potentially go, especially if the virus chooses to mutate down the road, which it could. We don't know. But, I mean, looking at patterns, you can kind of see all sorts of stuff throughout history getting repeated over and over again. So, I don't think it's not so much reading the future, but more interpreting the past and how it could be something useful to learn from. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy shit! I realized you're a survivor, and knowing you, you're gonna use this like pandemic, like COVID-19 shit to your advantage so much.
How would I use it to my advantage, though?
You're gonna be like that guy who's like, "Hey, I'm a survivor, so like I can say this." You know what I mean? You're totally gonna be that guy, aren't you?
I mean, I could be that guy. We'll figure it out.
Hey, I'm gonna need you coming on Saturday. Oh, I got something to do. Hey, I survived COVID-19, so I'm coming in on a Saturday. So I expect you to come in on a Saturday. You're totally gonna play that card. Once again, I hate to derail the podcast, but that just literally popped in my brain.
Well, now that you bring it up, I need to say something. If you're listening to this episode, I survived COVID-19. You can subscribe to this show. Anyway, moving on.
That's like the best segue of all time.
How can this whole village be so willfully ignorant to the dangers in the world around them?
Well, that's the that's the danger of foretelling, because if you have somebody that is able to that claims to be able to see the future and they've been proven right a bunch of times, then people like to stop thinking for themselves because it takes all the effort out of it. You don't have to. Like if Madame Wu said, I'm gonna be wearing red shoes on the day that I meet my wife, you're damn Skippy. Every pair of my shoes is gonna be red because we're gonna hurry up and get to that. It takes all of the choice out of it to really put as much effort into it.
Yeah,
like if something is proven effective, you know, like
I can't agree with you more. Like it's kind of the premise of WALL-E or Idiocracy. Like the human nature is to take the easiest route. So us as humans, if we're like, oh yeah, this person is right 4 out of the 5 times of predicting a pattern, like, oh yeah, whatever she says, yeah, I'm gonna go with it. So it's like, actually, you know, if you think about it, it kind of goes to show like how we are today, where the media tells us what we want to hear, and that's where we stop our thinking, you know. And well, if this person says it, then that's what's the truth, and that's what I'm going with.
If you say it must be true, then it must be true.
Indeed.
If I read it, reference? If I read a meme, if it's a meme, it's got to be the truth.
Did anybody get that?
I've heard
reference? Am I super old right now?
I've heard it before, but I can't remember where it's from.
It's from Goosebumps, David Carradine's episode.
Yep. I could see it now.
What? David Carradine was on Goosebumps?
Yep.
Oh my god. So
David Carradine played a teacher, and like the main kid, or like the protagonist of the episode, he had a tendency to lie to get his way, or to like get out of stuff. So as a teacher, he would just say, well, if you say it must be true, then it must be true. And the next day, the shit that he lied about would actually happen to him.
So you You mean to tell me that the leader of an all-woman assassin crew who shot a pregnant woman was on an episode of Goosebumps, and I did not know about this?
He surely was.
Oh my god!
He was also Kang in Kung Fu, but that's all right.
Oh, yeah, we all know that. That's assumed. But like, how did I not know this guy was on Goosebumps? You know, that's kind of like in that gap where I didn't catch that show too much. That show, I like rewatched it with my kids, but I am so angry that I did not know about this.
I like how we've gone from.
Sorry to take it off the rails.
I like how we've gone from Matrix to Goosebumps in an Avatar podcast. Like that's a jump I never thought we'd make.
Yeah, it's
this podcast.
It's what we do.
This podcast crew is versatile. That's why.
That's why it's after credits, not during the credits.
Ah, fair enough. Final question I've got for this episode. Is this episode pushing the Aang Katara romance a little too hard? Why or why not?
You know, it's really interesting you mentioned that, because actually I think like I've discovered a new issue with the show that I didn't have before this. I think the Katara and Aang relationship isn't handled too well. Like, looking at it as an adult now, or at least I don't know. It's like cringe inducing to watch it now, because it's just like ugh. So yeah, I think they leaned like it definitely felt like the focus of this episode, or a focus of this episode. And whenever it does come up in the show, and also in later episodes, it feels kind of heavy-handed. Whereas when you get it with Sokka and Suki, or Sokka and Yue, or Zuko and Mai, you know, like it all feels a little more organic. But it feels like with Katara and Aang, they had to lean on the whole will they, won't they a little too hard to kind of draw it out, and it feels awkward as a result of that.
Yeah. It kind of feels a little bit like the Ross and Rachel relationship from back in the day, the whole will they, won't they thing being the main premise of a lot of stuff, and it's like, you know, listen, just get to them getting together or don't, but stop this middle ground nonsense. We just want to get to the good stuff.
Yeah.
I agree. That's a good analogy that you bring up about friends. Side note, like, Ryan, I'm really as someone who still struggles with like trying to pronounce the names of the main characters. All the names that you said together, I'm like really, really impressed by. That was really awesome.
Thank you.
But no, I kind of made note of this. Like, yeah, it seems awkward at times, but the way they kind of they translate this teenage pubescent sort of like trying to figure each other out, like it's awkward because relationships at that time is awkward. And then you're an airbender, you're an air master, you know, you're a water master, you're the avatar, like that shit's awkward. And I think they make it awkward on purpose to kind of just like translate that awkward teenage relationship.
Yeah, I suppose. And like being 15, 16 when we first watched it, I think it might have rung a little more
closer to home,
a little more true, or a little more relevant, like at that time in my life. But right now, it was just like cringe. It was just like, oh god.
Ryan, if I were to take a camera back to your high school years and record you interacting with a woman, would you willingly tell me that is like a moment you're proud of, or would you be like, oh god, no, little Ryan, stop?
Oh no, like I'm not sitting here claiming to have been like a Casanova when I was younger. I absolutely didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I guess no. I'm more removed from that it doesn't feel as I don't feel as connected to the story because I'm 30 as opposed to 16. If that makes sense.
Guys, during my like teenage flirting days, after seeing Face Off and watching watching Nick Cage say that he could eat a peach for hours, I quoted that to a girl as a sort. But I thought it was gonna work. I mean, I think the last episode we recorded with Chaz, we talked about like having this sort of like awkward, like I think I'm smooth, but I'm really not. Those are like.
I wish I had seen Face Off when I was younger, just so I could have done that dumb shit.
I could.
No, you don't.
Oh my God! Do you even know what you're saying?
Yes, I thought it worked. It was Nick Cage. He was the coolest thing since sliced bread.
He was, man. He had the dual golden guns, man. You don't get cooler than that.
And Stacks of Cash and Gina Gershwin. Like I thought he had a mate. Like we're coming off of Con Air. We're coming off Gone in 60 Seconds. I thought this guy knew what was up. Little did I know that he's the source of the greatest, worst movies of all time.
Man, I can't wait for Nick Cage season 2. It'll be great.
Oh, yes. 100%. But yeah, no, I mean, like, that's all I'm saying. I think, like, it's quite possible that I'm wrong, and it's quite possible that it's, like, or at least the Katara and Aang relationship is geared so much towards younger people who are like dealing with that, but this episode isn't even the worst of it. There will be an episode in season 3 where it's like I had to pause because I was cringing super hard. It was like,
I'm curious to which one that is.
Stop doing what you're doing.
I'm curious which one that is. Don't tell me. I want to be surprised when it comes up.
I'll keep it. I'll keep it on.
Okay.
I'll keep it on lock. But yeah, it's just like I don't know. It's just something that's kind of that's come into my mind every now and again.
I feel like the problem isn't so much the characters, but maybe it's just the trope itself. Main characters and the female lead characters getting hitched up in a show or being the main like relationship thrust in the show. They tend to always be very either awkward or just very boring and insipid. Like they never really feel like a real relationship unless that is what the show is literally all about. Like it's a rom-com kind of show.
Yeah. Like where it's the actual focus of the show itself. It can be very well done. I mean, there are amazing stories of romance like all over the place, but when it's shoehorned into another genre, it can definitely feel cookie cutter or just like it's here because it has to be here. You know
a great example would be Star Wars.
Yeah. But I mean that's I feel like as a society we've kind of trained ourselves to expect it. Because I mean, like, sex sells and romance sells, and like you like as a male viewer, you know, there's a part of me that like kind of expects the male heroic figure to be rewarded with, you know, like the pretty girl at the end. And
so you're saying that women are nothing more than objects and rewards.
I'm saying.
Well,
that is hold on. Let me explain before you cancel me. I'm saying that I think this idea has been embedded into our society's like idea of stories, and that we're starting to break that mold and we're starting to get away from it. But having grown up in the culture that we have, I think that's just kind of in the back of my mind, and it's something that you have to actively unlearn because it was kind of embedded to you as you grew up. You know what I mean?
You heard it here, folks. Ryan thinks that society thinks that women are inferior. I mean, you're not wrong, Ryan. That's probably true.
If you want to send your hate mail and why Ryan is a chauvinistic pig, please email us at evacstation@gmail.com.
I'm looking forward to those emails. Those will be great.
Oh, boy.
After this, Ryan will make a guest appearance on After Credits After Dark, where we dig into those darker topics. Ryan now will be guest star.
Yep. We've got a podium set up so that he can try to dig his way out of this hole. So let's see it.
So those are all the questions I had for this episode. There wasn't a whole lot, but is there anything else you guys want to hit up, or should we go to the wrap up?
No, I think this was kind of in that great debate of filler versus character development versus,
Plot.
A staple.
Dog, this is
plot. Yeah, like as much as I was hoping that I wanted this episode to be a lot more than it was, but like when it boils down to it, it was tropish once again, and a cute sort of like I think great homage to like some other references, but at the end of the day, it did a good job of like creating that hormonal teenage angst that these guys are still kids, but like yeah definitely not the strongest filler, but not the worst at the end of the day.
Definitely. Like Kyoshi Island, it gives the
God.
hold on. I'm not giving you flack. Like Kyoshi Island, this episode gives the characters a chance to be something other than the saviors of the world. It gives them a chance to be kids. It gives them a chance to be teenagers and like indulge in the fact that kids their age are thinking about love and how their bodies are changing and these hormones that makes them want to kiss the girl that they've been traveling with for months at this point. Like that makes sense. And you need those moments to breathe. So it's not like completely useless, like say The Great Divide, but it's not like an essential piece of storytelling for the world, like say Jet. It's in between the two.
Well, with that, I think we should review the episode. So, Ryan, since you were going up, what do you think these episodes should rank at?
Blue Spirit, platinum. Tossing that platinum out there. That's really good. Like top-notch animation, amazing combat sequences, and the like a tonal follow-up, a 1-2 punch with the storm coming right behind it, and then the Blue Spirit bringing our two protagonists together to interact in a really interesting way. Plat. I don't even have to go into it. As a plat. The Fortune Teller. I'm stuck between bronze and silver because I don't think it's a bad episode. I don't think it's super important, but it does give both the group and audiences a chance to breathe. So I'm gonna say a high bronze, a very, very high bronze. It's not like the Great Divide where it's just like a bronze wrapper, like we uncased the bronze medal and we tossed away the plastic, and that's the episode. It's the plastic, but it gets a very high, almost silver. It gets a high bronze.
I like how we're making up new ranks unintentionally. It just happens.
Look, man, there are levels to this shit.
There are layers.
There are layers. Like onion.
Yep, like an onion.
Metals have layers. Metals have layers, right? Onions have layers.
Yeah.
Metals have layers.
More like it's more like melting points, I'm pretty sure. But once again, I'm not a big scientist. But I rank definitely the Blue Spirit. Like, this was the first episode. I think all the action's been great up until this point, but this one just kind of like was a head and shoulders above anything else. Like, it was really like, this is one of those episodes where it's arguably a great episode, not a cartoon, not live action, just pure episode. Super dramatic. I think with the 1-2 combo of the episode before, the storm, and this one, is it really kind of like the peanut butter and jelly of TV shows and episodes. Like, it really, like, it had a really good, cool effect to it. But this one, I give it a bronze, and I just, it was weird. It was good. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bronze wrapper, but, you know, I give it a bronze. It didn't coming off of the Blue Spirit. It just, you know, was a little bit lackluster.
I do find it funny you equate it to a sandwich, though, because it's like that means that both the Great Divide, and the Fortune Teller are like the bread, which is the least interesting part of a sandwich.
Bullshit.
If we're talking like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, like a generic peanut butter and jelly, it's the least interesting part.
Oh, I get you. I see that there, but the bread is like the sandwich is a third. The bread is most important, as the filling is the most important, as the dressing on it. Like,
I suppose.
Oh man!
If you get good bread, then we're talking. If we're just talking generic white bread, you could do better. You could do better.
Oh man, it's like a cupcake. What's better, the frosting or the middle, like, or the toppings? Like, they all play a very important role. You know, actually, now we're talking about food. So we've gone from the Matrix and food. Oh man, we've covered a lot of different aspects
in one episode. I'll give a quick review. So Blue Spirit, easy platinum right there. I didn't think we were gonna get 2 in a row like that, but damn, like, the animation, the story, Zuko getting some great moments to shine. It's all good. It's all good. For the Fortune Teller, because it made me think about Ross and Rachel, it's getting a bronze.
Tough but fair.
So thank you for tuning in for this week's episode. Next week, what do we even have next week? Episode 15, 16. I think that includes, where'd they go? Bato of the Water Tribe and The Deserter, which I'm looking forward to one of those. That's going to be good. It's going to be good.
Yeah, we're gearing up. We got 20 episodes. So that means we got 6 left. So it's gonna get pretty hot and heavy here soon, boys.
Absolutely. Well, thank you all for listening, and we'll see you after the credits.
Bum, peace.